At first glance, there's nothing unusual about the way the day begins in this city. But this is no ordinary city. Nobody lives here. This is Expo 92, and if you want to get into this town, you have to buy a ticket. The first visitors of the day run to get a good place in line at the big attractions of Expo 92. Japan, Kuwait, Australia, Indonesia. For 6 months, from April to October of 1992, here on this 2.5 square kilometer site on the outskirts of Seville, Spain, Expo 92 featured nearly 100 pavilions, representing over 150 countries, international organizations, and corporations. More participants than any World's Fair in history. These people are using the IBM Guest Services System. The Guest Services System was designed to help people have a better visit at Expo. This is a new kind of interactive multimedia system. It does more than just distribute information. Thanks to new digital technology, the system allows people to create information, like this multimedia postcard, or an electronic voice message. So people could communicate with their friends or family anywhere on the Expo site at any one of the 33 Guest Services System kiosks. The Guest Services System offered a variety of services. Multimedia features like the electronic walk and multimedia stories provided information about Expo. The electronic newspaper, the Expo Daily, had 5 sections of local and international news. The guest identification capability allowed the system to support a wide array of transaction-based services, as well as improving popular multimedia features like finger painting. Thanks to guest identification and the Guest Services System network, guests didn't lose their finger paintings when they walked away from the touchscreen. They could save their paintings in a personal file to return to the same finger painting at another kiosk or even on another visit to Expo. And guest identification supported the restaurant reservation system, the most ambitious transaction-based feature of the Guest Services System.
The goal of the system is to allow people to either perform some actual task, like making a restaurant reservation, or sending a message to people, or simply to have fun, to do a finger painting, or take their picture, or record their voice.
What I was trying to accomplish with the Guest Services System is to give people who probably had no experience with computers whatsoever an inviting way to explore a computer system without even realizing it was a computer system.
It was not our intention from the outside to make this look like a high-tech computer system, but rather to make this look, if you will, more like a video game, or more like something that was both fun and useful and easy to use. So from the outside, what you see is a very simple design with a screen and a microphone and some speakers and a camera. And all the high-tech elements are hidden inside the kiosk and in fact inside the computing system.
There was a lot to see at Expo, and there were a lot of people. The average daily attendance was 250,000, but on some days there were over 500,000 people here. And with temperatures often rising above 100 degrees, most people wanted to have a pretty clear idea of where to go and what to do. So one of the first things many people did when they arrived at Expo was to use the Guest Services System to help them carefully plan how they would spend their day. In the electronic walk, guests navigate through a series of aerial photographs to locate the pavilions. The system was designed to encourage exploration, and it was designed to be easy to use. Guests could stop, turn around, or back up by touching one of the breadcrumbs at the bottom of the screen.
Part of our general design philosophy is to always let the user be in control. We never want to force them to watch something they don't want to watch or to do something that they shouldn't have to do.
These people are cooling off inside the Canadian Pavilion. And these kids, also at the Canadian Pavilion, are experimenting with some interactive games. But if you want to get inside this place, first you'll have to wait outside, in line with everyone else. On the average, most people at Expo waited in line for 1 or 2 hours to get into a pavilion. But the longest line on record occurred late in August at the Canadian Pavilion, where some people waited for 7 hours. How could you know if it's worth the wait? How could you look inside without waiting in line? Underneath the photograph of each pavilion in the electronic walk, guests discovered a multimedia story. Multimedia stories answered a lot of questions about the pavilions at Expo. And many stories describe the people and cultures of the participating countries at Expo. There were over 100 stories in the system. The digitized images, music, and sound effects and text were provided by the participants. The Expo development team produced the stories and translated the text into the 3 languages of the system: French, English, and Spanish.
To me, one of the most rewarding aspects of the system is that we know that every week about 250,000 people choose one of the stories.
Yeah, it's very good. You can see all the pavilions without waiting online for 5 or 6 hours. You can find any pavilion.
Yes, it helped me a lot. We didn't know how to get to La Cartuja, and we got there right away with the computer.
Expo was open 7 days a week, 19 hours a day, and there was always something happening. And people who wanted to know what was going on read the Expo Daily, the official newspaper of the fair. This electronic newspaper had 5 sections, including a sports section and a weather section. And for those who wanted to know what was going on back home, the paper had the front pages of 6 international newspapers.
I
think visitors in general like the news because it's an interesting, fast, fun way to learn about what's going on at Expo and its surroundings in just a few minutes.
We check out the news too, because I find it's hard for us to get a lot of news here. So just checking out the quick clips on the IBM system is easier. It's faster.
One of the special features of the electronic paper was the teletype flash. At the bottom of the screen, live news headlines broadcast from the Expo Daily Press Office. The Expo admission ticket was no ordinary ticket. The ticket gave Expo guests access to a powerful group of transaction-based features in the guest services system. Guests used the ticket to sign onto the system. The card contained a personal identification number. And when more than one ticket was purchased at the same time by a group of friends or a family group, the system could recognize the group. So people visiting Expo together could communicate with everyone in their group.
In addition to allowing the guest to use these functions on the system, what it really does for the guest is add value to his ticket. The guest has a ticket to get into the fair, but the guest also has a ticket to use something inside the fair and have fun with it.
Guest identification supported some of the most popular features of the guest services system. Transaction-based features like video capture, voice recording, and finger painting generated a great deal of enthusiasm because these applications allowed guests to do more than passively receive information. They allowed guests to create information.
You can do whatever you want. You can make a color composition, send a message, whatever you want.
We left a message this morning and it's there now. Her mother saw it.
It's clear that many Expo guests found the system to be a very engaging experience. One reason for the popularity of the system was that the user interface encouraged people to explore the system by making it fun and easy to use. First-time users experienced immediate success just by touching the screen. And many people, like this group using the video capture facility, quickly discovered how to use the more advanced features of each application, like controlling the angle of the video camera, or how to touch and slide across the screen on the electronic walk, to read the preview text at the top of the screen to see what images lie beneath each hotspot. But even people who used the electronic walk had to do a lot of traditional walking at Expo 92. And when it was time to take a break and get something to eat, you could take your chances and just walk in someplace, or you could use the guest services system to browse through the restaurants of Expo, view the menus, and make a reservation.
All right, time for a reservation. How many are there?
Four.
I only saw 3 in the shop. We'll let you eat. No smoking, yes. All right, what time?
8 o'clock. 8 o'clock.
8?
That's pretty cool. You just push it that way.
Yeah.
And continue.
Russia, Castillo, Brazil. Philippines still sounds good to me.
Okay. What do they have?
Pancit, Lumpiang, Sugpo, Abadong.
You have to choose your menu.
Well, you don't have to.
No, you don't have to.
Should we contact the reservation?
Yes.
All right.
Checking at the restaurant. One moment, please.
Great. No, we have
restaurant reservation. Please be on time.
You may lose your reservation.
What are we supposed to give them, the card? When
we have to give them this card that we have.
Okay.
Show your Expo ticket when you arrive at the restaurant.
When the guests arrived at the restaurant, they gave their admission ticket to the maitre d'. He confirmed the reservation at his workstation.
We're very happy with the level of usage that guests made of the reservation system at Expo. We compute that about $100,000 a week in potential revenue was generated by our system.
You only have to walk around the site to find out that the IBM kiosks are really a huge success. It's one of the highlights of our exposition. They are all over the place, but also, the visitors are all over them. And they find out that it is extremely easy, it's extremely friendly to make use of this new tool of the latest technology. I think that it has been one of the highlights and that we can actually underline our purpose and stress the fact that we wanted to have the latest technology working for the exposition and not just merely being exhibited.
There were lots of diversions at Expo 92, but the guest services system seemed to hold its own pretty well. At least that's the way it was at this kiosk, where every guest station seemed to be occupied by people who'd rather be touching a computer screen than looking at the fireworks.
We really believe that one of the key notions about a public use information system, or indeed any information system, is that people should simply have a good time using it. We find if you take care in the way they design the system, even though people are accomplishing real tasks, doing complex things, they can do so in a relaxed, enjoyable way.
I think it really has succeeded in being something that is useful as well as enjoyable.
One of the most dramatic measures of the high use and, in fact, great acceptance of our system at Expo 92 is that over 1 million times every day of the week, every day of the fair, people are touching our system.
In a typical week at Expo, guests took over 500,000 video pictures and sent over 32,000 multimedia messages. They made 250,000 finger paintings and entered the restaurant reservation system over 42,000 times a week. But statistics alone don't tell the whole story of the guest services system at Expo 92. If you want to see how well the system really worked, you have to look beyond the numbers and take a look at the faces of some of the people who use the system.
you.